Good morning. Welcome to Turn-Based Memories. We are in the final episode of Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions. I am your host, the legendary Zoltan, here with the co-host, Mel. How are you?
Oh my gosh, good evening, everyone.
That's right. It's evening for him, and it's morning for me, as always.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to have a good time talking about the last battles and the ending of Final Fantasy Tactics. And then we'll announce the next game that we're going to play, which in that case, it will be me playing it for the first time. And Mel will have already been a long-time fan of the game. So, are you ready, Mel?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. As Reg would say, your body is ready, right? Okay.
It is. It's been, yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so the first place was Egros Castle Keep. I believe there were 2 battles here. Go ahead and read your notes first, I guess.
Okay, so while we were playing this, I sent Zoltan a message saying, dude, I think we have to delay the recording because I'm like completely stuck. And like I'll have to like grind and you know,
have to grind to get past
figure something out here. And then
it can't be this battle. That's the first battle of this.
Not this exact battle, but it is the second part of it.
Are you serious?
So,
oh man,
yeah,
that was early.
Yeah, and the first part of it, because once again, this is a battle where it's like kill this one guy, and so if you just kind of like suicide rush the guy, you can usually do the job, right? Because the game lets you have units go down as long as you don't take 3 turns of their turns.
Right.
Then you're good. Nothing lost.
Yeah. Are we allowed to say the guy? You keep saying the guy.
Oh, yeah. It's Dice Dog, right?
It's Dice Dog. That's right. You have to take out Dice Dog here.
That's correct. So you're in the Egros Castle. Your brother... Is he the oldest brother?
Dice Dog is the oldest brother.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Zolbag is older than Ramza, though.
Yeah, right. Ramza looks like he's 11, and his 2 brothers look like they're 25. But anyway, Dice Dog fully reveals himself to be the bad guy, which by now we've kind of understood that to be the case for some time.
Yeah.
And you also meet up with, who's the other guy?
It's Zolbag and Dice Dog.
It's just Zolbag. Right? That's right. Yeah, there was another unit there who joins your side temporarily. In my playthrough, he has no chance of surviving. I don't know if that was different for you.
I don't know who you're talking about. Another person shows up. Let's see. I have Dice Dog says he knows not of Balbane's murder. He said that anyway. And it was 5 knights plus Dice Dog, and you must.
It was your brother. It was Zolbag. It was Zolbag.
Okay, yeah. That's right. He's there.
He shows up and he starts to fight with you on your side. He does a little bit, but he gets completely surrounded and knocked out for me like right away. I don't know if that was true for you.
He probably did die, but I don't quite remember it.
Yeah, so you start off on the map is kind of a multi-tier map. There's a little bridge in front of you, and all your units start down on like a pit in front of the boss that you have to kill.
Yeah, we have to like either walk around and go up the stairs, or if you have ignore height, you can just jump up.
Yeah, you could jump up there if you have a Dragoon with high jump or the ignore height skill. Or you have to walk all the way around and get up there, fight your way up the units. Meanwhile, of course, Dice Dog has all sorts of ranged area of effect attacks.
Yeah.
They're, pretty strong. So right out the jump, you're probably going to get smacked with a couple of those attacks, and if you don't arrange your guys correctly before the battle begins, you might lose some if they were particularly squishy, or just start off with like really low health on some of them. So that went fine on my first playthrough of this map. It, normal stuff. I had my Dragoons, my Ramses are Dragoon, and I have a second unit that's also a Dragoon that are both pretty high level, who have ignore terrain, or elevation rather, so they were able to get up there and do some damage. But of course, we know that is not the end of the story.
That's right. Okay, so I'll read my notes. I think my
Go
notes are
ahead.
better to read first before hearing your reactions. Um, so yeah, some story stuff too. Oh yeah, so Dice Dark one shot my ninja first turn, retried. I stole his weapon and Zolbek crit him for 230, which was pretty epic. So
Whoa.
maybe Zolbek lived in that time
I
actually.
wish.
You wish you could get a crit out of Zolbag? Dice Dark wants the Beowulf. Oh, so then story stuff. Dice Dark wants the Beowulf house to rule. Now that the crown is weak, he believes
Right.
justice cannot be the primary principle of a ruler, and that the only reason Zalbag is a hero is because Dice Dark gets his hands dirty.
Hmm.
Zalbag could have finished off. So. That's right. Yeah. So he lived during my playthrough, and I wrote here that Zalbag could have finished him off like at any time, but he just didn't for some reason. Like he kept
Hmm.
not doing strong attacks or walking over to other places and dealing with knights instead of Zalbag, instead
Right.
of Dice Dark. Like, what are you doing? Just to go do it.
Maybe there's like an AI script in there that has them not do that.
Yeah, it could be right. Yeah, and I got a pretty sick ending for that first half of the battle. Dice Dark cast Firaga on a guy, but he didn't get his turn before my unit moved, and I walked right up to him. And when he cast Firaga, he Firaga'd himself as well, and that was how I won the battle. But of
Oh
course,
wow.
that guy died.
Yes.
Also, yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's all I have about that battle, actually.
Okay. Well, as we now know, that was only a part one. They don't indicate. Well, maybe they do.
What do you mean?
Is there like a way that you're made aware before you go in? Does it like tell you
Not
you're
before you go in.
entering?
Two
Sometimes it'll
battles.
tell you you're entering like whatever the hell castle entrance or whatever, and that's like
Yeah,
kind of an indicator
that you're gonna go
that
further than the entrance
there's
after that.
right.
I guess
Like
so.
I don't
Um,
know if it did that this time or not. I'm not
it
remembering
was well.
correctly.
The exact name that I wrote here is Egros Castle Keep, so probably not.
Maybe, yeah, I don't think so. I remember being caught off guard by this pretty hard because, like I was saying, I kind of suicide rushed my entire squad to get to him. So I was like kind of positioning my heavy hitting mages up close to just do an attack, and then who cares? They can get hit and die because as long as I got enough hits in,
Hmm.
I would win. And sure enough, I did. But once you do down Dice Darg, he sacrifices all of the other units, including your other brother,
Oh
and
yeah,
becomes uh,
Adramelech the Wroth.
Dramelech, yes, the Roth, becomes Lucavi or Lusavi or whatever.
Yeah.
And this unit is basically a fucking summoner. He has really, really strong summoner skills.
Yeah.
Odin and a
Cyclops
couple
maybe?
others.
No.
You might be right. But Odin in particular just does like a stupid amount of damage
Stupid amount of
over a
damage.
large area that's
Yup.
very hard to like I'll try to spread my guys out and it's like still not enough to get away from some of these attacks
Yeah.
within the movement range that I have. So I'll read what I wrote here.
Okay.
After having said, I think the game allowing you to revive tomb member or to revive fallen tomb members during a match is a little overpowered, at least for this strategy, which is the bum rushing the guy and just killing them. And then I
Hmm.
immediately went to part two. Oh no!
Oh no, is all you wrote there, huh?
Well, I just started by saying, "Oh
Oh
no!
no.
I just thought that strategy worked, and here I am finding it doesn't.
Yup.
All my downed guys died permanently before I rolled back to save.
Yeah.
And time to roll back a save state. I had to grind for this one
Oh, you
since this is a
did.
two-parter, right?
Hmm.
Um, since this was a two-parter, I was left pretty hobbled in the second fight, and the boss's summoner skills kept wiping me out. A big part of what helped was getting ignore elevation on Ramza, which I did not initially have, so I could do more damage more quickly in the first part.
Hmm.
It was still close thanks to some Odin and Bahamut. That's what it was.
Ah.
Bahamut skills that he was using. But there was something weird I noticed at one point during one of the save files that I didn't end up using,
Mm.
was that I have a summoner who somehow gained the Bahamut summon, which I did not learn yet.
Whoa. I know how
I
you got
went
it, I
in.
think.
Oh, really? Is there a mechanic I'm not aware of?
Well, you probably just picked up some other summoner's crystal that was left behind from their
Mm-mm.
body, right?
No,
No?
I would have remembered that for sure. I went into the menu to cast the summoner skill, and then I noticed Bahamut. I was like, I don't think I ever learned that. But I didn't have the opportunity because no one was in range, or I didn't have the MP to use it.
Mm.
So I said, oh, maybe my guy has this ability. That's cool. I didn't know that. And I rolled back to save again because that one didn't work to like the same, save file from before, and then kept playing forward again, and he didn't have it.
That's
I have
weird,
no
yo.
idea how he got Bahamut. It never happened again.
Maybe I wonder if was Bahamut already in the menu? It was, right? You could have learned it, right? If you had the
It's a
points.
summoner I could have learned. I
Or
don't
is
think
it
I
not in
have the
there?
points. No, I don't have the point. It's in the menu. I could have learned
That's
it
what I
if
mean.
I
It's in the
had the
menu.
points.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yes, correct.
yeah, there are like I think two actually summons that you have to learn from like other places
Hmm.
before the into your menu so you can learn them. But yeah, it sounds like Bahamut's not one of them. So I have no idea why you could suddenly do
Uh,
Bahamut.
right. It was available. I could have used it and whiffed it on no one because no one was in range. So I didn't use it. And then that file I ended up having to roll back either because that's where I had to grind or I was just trying to reposition units a different way. And it never showed up again. I thought somehow this fight unlocked it for that summoner, and that's still my assumption. I just don't know why that would be the case and why it didn't happen more than once. If that is the
Hmm.
case, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I mentioned that there because it was kind of strange.
I hope somebody in the
Um,
comment section knows why you learned that and can tell
yeah,
us. It's not. It's hopefully. I hope it's not just some weird random glitch that somehow happened.
yeah. I mean, I am using an emulator. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I
So am
doubt
I
it.
though. Mm.
It may be, but just to cover the bases, that is the scenario. But yeah, eventually I was able to get it. I think I really had to just like hound him down with Ramza and my other Dragoon just to get the damage in on this guy because he'll run away and just cast these ridiculous area of effect summoner magic, and just having the durability to withstand that through the first phase of the fight when you're already kind of, beaten up a bit.
Right.
It was really hard, and then not lose anyone because I didn't want to lose any of my guys.
Right. Because there's
It
still
was
more
it was a
battles
lot.
after this.
Oh yes, sir. So eventually, the little bit of grinding I did went a long way, just to get Ramza enough points to round out some to give him more reach on his jump skill and ignore height. That was really what did it.
I what I ended up doing for this was I went up to Adramalek and I have two characters with the what is it called? War skill, battle skill,
Hmm.
arts of war. That's it.
Mm-hmm, hmm.
The knight skill, and I speed broke his ass four
Oh
times,
right, right.
yo.
He's very fast.
I guess so, but I mean, my idea was just even if he's not fast, to get him as slow as possible.
Sure.
And yeah, I think after his first turn and after he was speed broken four times, I think I hit the AT, and he had like it was like literally 30 turns of our guys before he was going to get his next turn.
Yeah, I
Be-
think you
mm.
need to be 2 points above in speed to take 2 turns for their one.
Um,
I think is how it works.
Let me think.
So if
No,
they
you
have
can't just
five,
be two. You can't just be 2 points above because it depends on what the numbers are. If you have 10 speed and he has 12 speed, he's not going to get twice as many turns for your one. Yeah, if you have double the speed, you'll get double the turns. If you just have a little bit more speed, you won't get double the turns because it's a clock tick thing, where it just increases the clock ticks by the amount of the character's speed, and when
mhm.
it reaches 100, they get their turn. Um, so I wasn't worried about him, Adramalek, being particularly fast as much as I just wanted to slow him down even more, because if you can get someone's speed down to 1 and
Sure.
you have speed 10, then you do get 10 times as
And
many turns, right? So that's what I did. So he got like 1 turn off, but before he got his next turn, he probably, even though it said question marks, after 4 speed breaks, his speed was probably speed 1. So then I had like all the time in the world to go to town on him.
yeah, that would do it.
Yeah,
That would be one way to do it for sure.
yeah. So that's all I
Alright.
got about Adramalek the Wroth. You had a harder time with it than me. I had a hard enough time, but yeah, I did have to
It was
restart that battle twice or so.
Yeah, it was just getting caught flat-footed in the second phase. I was like, I tried and tried for a while. That's why I sent the email. I was like, I don't know, this might take me like a little extra time here, but I got through it.
Yeah, you did.
After some, yeah,
Okay, cool. Next battle was at Mulan,
right.
and there's a cutscene there where Full Marv. Let's see. Oh yeah, Full Marv guys killed all the priests and High Confessor Marcel too.
Right.
And I'm just reading what I got here. We hit the cathedral from the front and the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote that I turned a guy into a frog. I
Oh.
charmed the summoner to cancel the summon as well. Yeah, so that's what I did on that scene.
Yeah, this was the 15th battle of this chapter, so we're on the last chapter of the game, by the way. And this is another 2-part fight, actually.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. You have to move into the castle and then do a brief second fight. But
Wait, sorry. This fight is those 3 guys, right?
this fight is when you're on top of the church or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we hit it from the back and front. Okay, I missed.
Mm-hmm.
I missed a screenshot.
So
but okay,
before,
I remember it now.
and then it moves into the fight against the 3 guys.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, this one I didn't find it too hard. I tried to level up my monk as a thief to get him to, I think, a different class, but as a thief, he was so much weaker. This happened to me before in the playthrough. I just had to turn him back into a monk. I was like, I'm not doing any damage. I don't have access to the skills I want.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was pretty resolved to think I probably have the classes I need or want, at least.
To finish the game, yeah.
Yeah, to get through the rest of the game. And so I didn't really try doing anything other than, buying skills for the classes I already had, by which at this point I had most of them. So for this fight, yeah, you start it from the front and back of like a building, and there are a bunch of units up on top of the building, and there's a little elevation in play. It wasn't very difficult because by this point in the game you're probably pretty well equipped. If you have dragoons, again, you could just get up there and step on these guys' heads who are really squishy. These summoners and white mages casting holy and whatever up there, they'll die in one jump or one regular attack usually. And then at the back they had some orators, which I think is the first time you see them in this game.
No way.
On the enemy side, I think so.
Okay,
I don't
maybe.
remember seeing them.
I feel like I don't know. There are yin yang mages as well. I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, those guys also existed, but yeah, maybe it is the first time we saw orators.
Yeah, so they basically are buff. They buff guys, or they try to cast.
That's what I have my guy Ramza doing. He's the one who casts Entice and gets people to be traitors and go over to our side. They didn't do that to me, thankfully.
Right. So those guys weren't too tough either. Again, they're really not very defensive. This entire fight was mostly, there were some geomancers in here too, so not a hell of a lot of defense or even direct offense on this enemy team. So this one, not too hard.
I don't know. I think I found it more difficult than some of the other ones. Not more difficult than the previous one because it was a double battle. But, whenever it's like you just got to kill one guy, I just bum rush the guy, and that takes care of that. But in these normal battles, quote unquote normal battles, you have to kill all the enemies. So you have to be more careful, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this actually is a 3-part fight. I just realized. I'm scrolling down my notes here.
So
Uh,
you're saying we didn't? Did we not have any? I'm trying to remember here. We didn't have any break to go back to the world map from
no,
this battle into the next one.
no, sir. You could just
Okay,
go to the main menu and you
and
would
yeah,
heal
yeah, you can
at
do main
least.
menu stuff, but you can't get to the world map. Yeah,
Yeah, it was multi-part in the fact that they were separated by maps. So you were healing. Whenever they separate the map, you always heal between
yeah,
the
they were different.
maps.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
So that means that next, yeah, we went inside Mulan Cathedral nave,
Hmm.
and Fulmarv said or not, he didn't say. Fulmarv apparently just needed one incantation that was in the scriptures, which he got from us.
Right.
Um, and then in the battle, you just have to kill Fulmarv.
Right.
Cletien has ignore elevation. I put lol in that because
There's no
because there's no
elevations whatsoever.
elevations to ignore in here. That was hilarious. Like, why did they bother?
Uh,
And over 500 HP and nearly every type of attack has less than 60% chance to hit. Yeah, these guys have over 500%, or at least full Marv does. And
uh-huh.
whatever kind of attack you try, I couldn't get more than 60% chance of hitting.
Oof.
Ninja had her awesome armor rent. That sucked. Yeah, I had a ninja
That
with like,
happened to me too.
yeah,
They all seem to have the ability to rend your armor, so he cost me a couple bucks on this fight.
yeah.
Having to get my armor back.
Yeah, but other than that, like, there's not a lot to say about
That
tactics for
fight
me
wasn't
anymore.
too hard. Yeah, no, because it's another single boss
Yeah,
elimination.
it'd be
These
cool to be able to take your time and like whittle the other two guys down while somehow defending against all their attacks. But I don't know how to do that. Like, and survive it well. I don't know how I would do that.
I mean, I can envision if I were spending a lot more time on this, I could envision getting a lot more defensive and like auto potion with fucking X
X potions.
potions.
Yeah, I
And
have that
then,
actually. I have that actually.
right. So I would have something like that on everyone, or I would have like auto regen or whatever. Like my white mage was barely doing his job. Like he would heal for like 50, and then all of his, I don't know if there's something I could have done to improve this, but it seemed like all of his buff skills, like, protect or shell, had like a 25% chance to work.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know what that's based on, but if I try to do it on myself, and has a radius around him,
yeah.
and then have that trickle over to someone else, the odds seem to
Increase.
improve a bit. But it was never. It was like a total. Like I should probably try and do damage instead of hope to get protect.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I haven't done much with
Yeah.
um buffs support magic, so
Maybe they're just not good in this game. I don't know, or if
no,
there's
they are. I
some
think if
way.
I don't know what makes the percentages better, other than of
Right,
course the freaking zodiac compatibility, but
right.
um, other than that, I'm not sure. I haven't looked up what you need to do what's the mathematical equation for that, but
Yeah, they always seemed super bad. And then, on top of that, some of the really crucial ones like raise or arise, those numbers were really low too.
right, yeah. So everything's percentage chances in this game, and the enemies have it happen a lot too, though. For me, I always
That's
see
true.
guys trying to haste other guys and it just miss.
Oh yeah, the enemies miss their own attacks mercifully quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not too bent up about it, and that's why I transitioned my white mage to be specialized with monk skills because they just work better. They're all guarantees,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
the revive is not a guarantee, but it has a way higher chance than rise and arise.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
You don't
so
want
I
to be
focused him
going.
down.
You don't want to be going on 40% chances of stealing someone's weapon or getting them to become a traitor. It's
No, that's
pretty
your
hard
job. That's your
without save
job.
states.
Yeah, without fuck. I don't know how you
right?
could possibly.
Can you imagine trying that strategy that I did with original hardware? Dude,
Ugh.
you just be walking over and pressing the physical reset button over and over again.
Ugh.
I
I
think.
mean, I guess if I were in middle school playing this game when it came out or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anything more about the Mulan Cathedral nave fight?
Nope, just that I jumped on his head with my two dragoons and I cast Holy, and that's how I killed him.
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess this next battle was also it's in the
Mm-hmm.
cathedral, so I guess we
The
didn't.
third part.
Okay, yeah. Mulan Cathedral Sanctuary. Zalbag. Okay, so let me click this
Mm-hmm.
off. That's right. Zalbag is there. Zalbog in our version. Zalbag walks right up to us. Number one, okay, I wrote my whole freaking battle. Number one, I stole his sword. Number two,
Ooh.
200 damage with my knight. Number three, 150 damage with my ice gun. Number four,
Ooh.
60 damage with a spear. Number five, this is amazing. Number five, 200 damage with the knight. And then number six, 300 damage with a flare. And that bitch was dead.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, so
He took a
now
lot.
Zalbag has been possessed, right?
That's right. Yeah.
He has been resurrected because he was kind of, I thought he was just like absorbed by Dice Dog or whatever, but I
Uh,
guess he kind of was,
his
right?
soul was maybe because I mean he's a
Something.
zombie now, so
Right. So he's a zombie and he's like, what am I doing? I don't know. And he's like, oh my
yeah,
God, kill me. Everything's horrible. And it's like a really horrible moment where your
yeah.
brother is this reanimated corpse that's being controlled by, I guess, Fomarv, right?
I guess
Or
by
no, we
him
killed.
directly, or
Who's controlling him?
he's being trolled by the Lusavi according to Ramza during the
Right. Yeah.
conversation. Yeah,
So yeah, he's hearing voices and he can't control it. And he's like, he can't see. He's like, am I standing or sitting? What's going on? So he's like totally just possessed by whatever this is.
yeah.
So, it's a horrible moment. So he comes up to you and he starts casting like speed debuffs on your guys, and then
Oh
he
man.
buffs his own speed.
Hmm.
So that's his strategy, is to just like eliminate your turns and hit you a bunch of times.
Like I said, he just
Uh,
walked right up to me and tried to hit me, and then after that, I had all my guys just mess him up.
Yeah, so what I wrote here is I was afraid this would somehow screw me over, but I was able to focus down the boss once again. Zalbag's speed buffs and debuffs almost caused a problem, but the potent mix of dragoons and monk skills means I can do a lot of damage from really far away.
Nice.
Also, we killed our brother. Oh no, I guess.
I guess
Yeah,
you know
no.
you're not too
Yeah.
bent out of shape over it.
Not too pent up, I guess. But yeah, these monk skills, you can hit that shockwave ability, hits from like across the damn map, and the dragoon jump hits from so far away. He tried to like get himself into a position that I couldn't hit him afterward, and I was like, nah, I can still hit you.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Nice. So you basically didn't really have a problem with this fight either.
No, I didn't have to redo that. Maybe once or twice here and there, to get like the reposition on it. I probably did, but I don't recall having a hard time here.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bummer for Ramza. He had to kill his own brother's zombie.
His whole fucking family fell apart. His dad got poisoned. His older brother's an evil, crazy person. His other older brother is a zombie who you have to kill.
Yeah. Alma was his sister though, right? She's good at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So him and Alma are the
Mm,
only two people that are good people in the family that were alive after Ballbanes died.
right.
Okay, next it says Monastery Vaults. Was that in? That wasn't in Mulan. Was that back at Orban, or was that? Did we
Hmm.
continue during this? We went back to the world map after that, right?
Yeah, this is its own. This is a separate fight.
Okay, this was at Orban Monastery, I think.
Hmm.
Then not
Correct.
Mulan Cathedral. So
Nope.
yeah, we were on Monastery Vaults 4th level before we came to Monastery Vaults levels 1, 2, and 3. So now we just went even further.
Right. Right.
You have to kill all the enemies in this first battle. It's got three knights, 2 monks, and 1 archer. I don't have any other notes about it.
Yeah, me too. Other than these are very big books that we're standing on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking, I think.
Very big books. Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward, like, interstitial fight. No, there's no major units here. There's no kind of complex tactics. There's some elevation in the middle of the map, and nothing you haven't seen before at this point.
Yeah, I can just imagine the priest Simon that lived at this Orban monastery, just having the time of his life reading these massive books.
I know. I just like the idea of someone cracking open these. Like, why would they have to be so big? Because they're important. People
Right.
just books back then. Everything, newspapers were bigger back then. Books were huge.
Yeah. Because that's funny that they make the size of it based on how important they deem it is, because that would mean everybody
Right.
like, dude, of course this is important, so I got to make it huge, right?
I mean, a big
About
fucking
everything.
put them up on the wall. Big book.
Yep. Okay, next is the Monastery Vaults 5th level, and it's, let me get the thing.
So this is a second part fight.
Right.
You-
This is against Law Free.
yes.
I wrote huge books as well. I also wrote Trisection because that's the name of the song, which it's one of my favorite songs from the game, and it's not the first time it's popped up. Trisection was the tutorial battle song, the one that goes. I think that's an awesome melody.
It is a very good one.
Yeah, and you just have to kill Lawfree, and I wrote here all the mages, because there's like a ton of mages with him, like 6 mages with him or something, including summoners, right? It's like 2 summoners, 2 time
Yeah.
mages, and two black mages or something. And
Yeah.
I wrote here all the mages are really scary, but 2 swords and a flare killed Lawfree. But after I killed him, Lawfree casted a teleportation spell to the Necro Hall.
Right.
So
So I had a hard time. This one you would think would be to your advantage because I think in most scenarios it probably would, because they start you way up on a high elevation. That
yeah,
if it were any other mix of units, would put you in a position where you can kind of block and bottleneck guys as they try to come up to you.
yeah,
But everyone else here has so much range, and they hit over such wide area because, like you were saying, there are summoners that you're just like a sitting duck up on this elevated part of the
yeah,
map. You have to get down there and start knocking down some guys so you don't blow up, essentially.
yeah.
And when you start the fight, again, you have to kill Lottery right off the bat. So it's one of those kill the boss maps.
Mm.
And he runs at you, which is usually a great sign because you're like, great, I can get in there and just like
Mess him
do it
up.
in one shot. But I didn't quite either have enough damage or I couldn't reach him with the position I had. And then that's usually a horrible sign because when an enemy takes any damage, they know enough to run the hell away.
Mm.
And that's exactly what he was doing. And what I didn't realize was those black spots in the middle of the map are like holes in the map
Yes.
you can walk on.
They're holes in
So-
them, like you cannot walk on them, right?
Right, you can't.
Yeah.
They're like these giant gaps, and I thought they were just like, I don't know, evil black spots or something. I
see.
didn't know what they were.
So they were blocking you from getting over there a little bit?
Yeah, I was like, all right, he ran over there. Let me just kind of move this guy. Oh shit, I can't
I
move
see.
here. Why? Oh, it's a complete like empty part of the map. I get it.
Yeah.
So the map was a lot more challenging than I had realized at first blush because there's only a couple little routes that you can take to get through the middle of the map past all these fucking mages and shit.
Mm.
But what happened here is what has happened kind of a few times at this point. After trying it a couple times, the AI casted a Faraja spell on him, like that affected him. He was in the way of it, basically. And
Yeah.
that was enough to get me over the limit to where I now had enough damage in one round to knock him out before he ran away.
Nice. Do you not have you have a black magic person?
No. I have a summoner who used to be my black mage, who I now have.
What's their support skills? Not support, but the alternate.
Secondary. I
Yeah.
think I have him No, yeah, he does do black magic. Yes.
So, like, did you not learn, for example, flare? Because, like, the thing about flare is, I mean, it takes like 60 freaking magic points, but it does insane damage. So if you and since you can use magic, you can have it. What do you want to say? You could have it track the unit, target the unit. So
Right.
even if they move, the
Run
thing with
away.
flare, it doesn't have that X crosshair, targeting area.
Range
It
or yeah,
it's just
radius.
it just hits the one space. So it doesn't
Right.
matter if they walk right up to you. They'll get flared and nobody else will get flared. So that's what I've been using during all these later battles is, as long as he doesn't die
Mm.
before it gets the flare off, that's like some sick damage you can do to anybody.
Holy is a very similar spell, which I have used a lot at the end. I think that's probably been my alternative to that. My white mage, I gave him Holy, and that's the same type of spell. It
Yeah.
only hits one target. It hits really fucking hard, and
Yeah.
that definitely saved my bacon a couple times.
I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I'd like to tell you now, one of the coolest like own everything on the map, like just invincible, borderline invincible strategies that you can do in this game. One thing that we never did was we never bothered to unlock the calculator class or the
Right.
mathematician class, which I explained before was like this class of that uses magic spells from all the previous magic classes. And what it does is it just chooses the target based on either the height or the experience or the CT or the level of all characters on the map. And so just to remind everybody, for example, if you say height 3, everybody who's standing on height 3, 6, or 9, or 12 is going to be targeted, even good guys. But one of the things you
Hmm.
can do is you can use this cheesy duplication glitch in the game. I don't remember how to do it, but you do it in like the shop in the dressing room. And if you take off something and put it on in a certain way, you can just duplicate it instantly. And so you just duplicate freaking Sid's Excalibur sword. Like, give one of those to everybody. Now everybody has haste and they absorb holy. And then have a calculator
Oh
just
my
hit
god.
everyone with holy, and it doesn't have to worry if it's going to hit your guys because they'll absorb it. That's a
Hmm.
thing you can do in this game.
Holy moly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like it would definitely delete the whole field.
Oh, yeah.
Or do a lot of damage anyway.
Yeah, it destroys everybody. So, so that's the fun thing I thought I'd mention to you. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a part 2, and then there's a part 3 fight coming
Yeah,
up.
that one
Now that
takes
we've been
place in.
banished to the fucking Shadow Realm.
Yeah, we're in the Necro Hall of Mulan.
Mm,
You just have to defeat Cletien, but he's got 2 ninjas, 2 samurais, and 2 mages, time mages with him.
yep.
Or one something time mages. Maybe that's a one time mage. No, that's a two time mages.
There's 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and I kicked this guy's ass so easy, man.
Really?
Yeah, I just walked up to him with like 1 or 2 of my I have a ninja and I have a knight, so that's 2. I have a knight with 2 hands, so that's 2 swords. So that's 2 people that can attack twice in one turn, right? So
That's a
literally
lot.
2 swords in the face, 2 knives in the back, and a gunshot, and he was dead.
It's a way to put it for sure.
Yeah.
So you were able to get to him in like 1 turn before all his guys did stuff to you?
Let me think here. My knight has, I guess so. My knight had, I don't know, 5 or 6, at least 5 movement. So that's not terrible. The ninja can teleport, and so
Oh,
I
yeah.
went ahead and took a chance with a long range teleport, and I got it. And then the gun, is like it hits like eight spaces away from you, so no problem there. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it seems like you have a much easier time closing a gap, at least on a horizontal plane
Horizontal
than
plane,
I
yeah.
do. Vertical, I'm pretty good because my dragoons can just get up there and do whatever they got to do. But across a longer distance, my guys are kind of slow and they don't have heavy hitting fast attacks across a long horizontal plane. Like my monks can do. I have 3 guys that have shockwave, but shockwave doesn't do that much damage.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So yeah, how was this battle for
uh,
you?
yeah. So I wrote here. It seems to be a common theme that I go into a battle thinking initially it'll be impossible, only for some quirk to occur that makes it trivial. This time, I initially had all my guys up at the front, so they got slammed by the enemy's initial attacks because his guys were all going before I had any turns.
Yeah.
Then, on my second try, I moved everyone to the back row, which forced the enemy to get much closer while doing less damage, and the boss got in 2 hits. He turned away from me because he was up against the central pillar. So this is a big open room with a one central pillar, and you
Yeah.
start behind it, and the enemy starts on the other end of it, on the
Yeah.
opposite end of the square, basically, of the
Yeah.
map. And you're both kind of running, and you can use this pillar, I guess, during the map to hide or avoid damage or whatever. So yeah, I started the position further toward the back of the grid that they let you pick your guys on, which meant they wouldn't get hit by those initial attacks. The ninjas weren't throwing fucking kitchen sinks at me, and all the other attacks weren't reaching, but they had to get closer because they're going to try and attack me.
Mm.
So he got up close to the pillar and then turned around because, right, his back
His
is up
back would be
against the
to the pillar.
wall.
Yeah.
hmm So he turned away from me to his back to the wall, and I guess his AI thought that made sense. But I can attack through solid objects with my monk abilities.
Oh damn.
Right. So that meant he had a much lower chance to dodge my stuff, and that
Nice.
meant he was able to go down.
Awesome. That's cool. Are you using Earth Slash or whatever it's called, the one that the monk ability that shoots a wave like
That's shockwave.
shockwave, yeah. It doesn't
Yeah.
do that much damage anymore, huh?
It's definitely a good option. What I like it for is it has a really high chance to hit, generally speaking, if you can hit them.
Right.
And the same is true of the aura fist blast, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It sometimes has a higher chance to hit than your unarmed attack will. So that's definitely useful for me when I'm a monk or use a monk skill. But yeah, between that and getting some dragoon jumps on him, I was able to get it done. But yeah, he was doing the job initially. And I was like, uh-oh, I don't know what I can do here.
I wonder if you're allowed to jump up and walk onto the building, the roof of the building. Do you know if you can?
No, you can't get up there.
You cannot? Oh, man.
No, it's like out of bounds.
Yeah. Because I'm just thinking, man, I wish I could jump up there with some archers and just rain arrows on dudes. But I say that, but it seems like the bows in this game don't do enough damage when you get to the end, apparently.
No, they just don't. I wish they did. The archer class or some sort of bow. Like they gave the archers just 18 different aim skills.
Right, yeah.
And they just get worse and worse because they get slower and slower.
Yeah. You can use, I wonder if the short charge ability that Time Mage has, it probably will reduce the amount of turns those take by half.
That's true.
Which would be pretty good.
That's true.
I have that on my Black Mage. I wanted to put Arcane Strength on him just to more buff his magic, but I wasn't able to capture any guys in the area of effect before they moved out of the way, and I didn't want to target units because they'll walk up to me and then I'll hit my own guys. So for a while, I was just using, I replaced Arcane Strength with Short Charge, and that basically guaranteed that I can hit most enemies before they move out of the way or move closer to me. So that was what I was doing with there.
Right. So this next fucking battle.
So the next battle is...
this is a 4th-part battle, by the way. By the way,
are we serious?
This is one chain of fights until the end of the game.
So wait a minute. So then there's this
one. You never
one,
get to go back to the main menu.
the next one, and the next one. So total 6 battles in a row. Holy crap.
6-part fight.
Okay. So in this version, this place is called Lost Halidor. Halidon?
Yes.
Halidon.
Something like that.
I think I wrote an N here. Lost Halidon, completely different name from whatever it was in the original Tactics, I believe. And you just have to defeat Barrick. That guy's back. We fought him once before, and it seemed like he didn't have really anything to do with the story for the most part. But he's back.
He is back, boyo.
Yeah. Enemies can use like X potions and stuff, but I have a note here because I saw it happen and I was surprised. An enemy still uses plain old potions occasionally. Like, why do they even do that at the end of the game?
Yeah, you're right.
There's a what?
There's a chemist here.
Yes, there's a chemist here. Barrick has a new lightning gun. I tried to get it, but I couldn't because I needed to try to focus on killing him instead.
There's no way. I mean, I guess there is a way, but
yeah,
Jesus,
but not for us today.
Not for us today is right.
Yeah, so is one Tiamat, one Hydra, one Greater Hydra, and then of course Barrick and the Chemist. I think is that all of them? I feel like there's one more monster actually.
No, you're right.
First thing happened to me. Tiamat walked up to me and dealt 340 damage times 3. Times 3. You can't live through that, even if you're max level. That's the max HP is 999. This is more than 999 damage, yo.
Yeah. So the way they work, these guys are three-headed dragons. They do an attack that hits an area, whatever the radius is around your character, and it has like odds of striking whatever tile is in that radius, which is like a small radius around the target.
I think it's just like that two with radius that creates like a plus sign or the X sign or whatever. I think it's just that.
Like that.
And so out of those 5 spaces, it's gonna hit 3 random ones.
Right, and you can get lucky and never get hit. That's
happened. Yeah, it
happened
to me too.
I can usually only survive one of those hits, and there are 3 that are coming your way.
Yup.
And there are 3 of these fucking dragons.
Yup.
One of them is stronger than the other 2, so it's even worse. Like, he has a lightning attack that does that.
Is that one worse than the others? I don't remember that.
Maybe it's not worse, but in my opinion, I think it did more damage. In my observation, maybe it had weaker resistance or some shit. I don't know.
Maybe.
But you start this fight on opposite ends of like a ravine.
Yeah, so you got to do something to get over there.
You got to get over there. You got to hang back and hope they approach, or you got to like bum rush and get in there and hope you have the fucking damage to get in there. But the initial positioning is really rough because there's all these minor changes in elevation.
Yeah.
Which cause your movement to get reduced quite a lot. And it also goes a long way to interrupt a lot of area of effect skills that you have, which the enemy doesn't really rely on the same way, because Barrett has a gun that just kind of hits across the goddamn map, and the other enemies have this like area fireball where they just target you directly anyway. So, if anything, it makes their thing more potent because it's covering less ground. So it was, I tried and tried and tried, and I just could not crack this particular nut. So I tried swapping out my party for some of those like story members that join with like really good gear.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Sid, Thunder God Sid.
Yeah. So I had him join. He had most of the gear he started with. I pulled some of it off at some point, but I think I gave it all back. And he has the
Holy
the
sword
Excalibur,
or something. Yeah,
or whatever it is. Yeah.
And he has like a special sword attack.
Right. He comes with a couple special abilities, which if you were using him, you could level up and make, I'm sure, even crazier skills at his disposal.
Right.
But that almost did it for me. I got very close. Like, because he is not only strong, he is super fast, and he has really good range, like movement range.
That's right, yeah.
So he was able to get across that gap and do like a good amount of damage to him before he could act, and none of my other guys were that fast or mobile. Then my plan that almost goddamn worked was to have my 3 other guys that have Shockwave line up one in back of the other and just Shockwave him. It
Oh
almost
man,
worked,
it almost worked. Ah, that's cool
but
that
there
it.
was no way I was surviving another attack because they don't even let you position yourself further back in the line on the map enough to like
Right. To avoid the
get
first
away.
wave. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so you're at such a strong disadvantage on this map. It's nuts. And you're 4 matches deep into this fight.
Yep.
So unless you want to redo all 3 of them, and I felt like I kind of got lucky on that third one
Right.
and the second one where I was like, I don't know if I have the time to do this.
Yeah, you don't want to be back and back out to the world map save that you hopefully didn't overwrite back in the day.
I know I didn't. I was very careful with my I note down what save slot I'm using. But doing this for real, you don't get the opportunity to save
Yep.
between all of these battles. You're expected to do this in
No, no,
one
no.
shot.
You do. You get to save
Do you?
between them, but you can't go back out to the world map from any of those other
Okay.
saves.
All right.
That's
You
the
can still
problem.
save. I was still effectively playing by those same rules. The only addition was I was also saving in between turns, which is a big deal. But even with that advantage,
Mm.
like sometimes, it is what it is. Like you're only gonna you only have so many resources at your disposal
Yeah.
without access to the world map.
This is the third to the last battle, and I remember from the first time I ever played it that this was the hardest battle in the game. And basically, once you get past this one, everything else is cake by comparison. Like
Oof.
it's ridiculously, it's a spike for sure. It's a difficulty spike,
Right,
and
right.
even having played the game many times before, knowing it was coming, I couldn't get
Oh,
past it again.
oh boy.
I mean, I beat the game before doing
Sure.
something, maybe grinding all to all. Yeah, I grinded a lot more back in those days. I grinded less this time intentionally to see what it'd be like. Yeah, it's really freaking hard, and I don't know how it freaking happened, but recently another podcast they talked about this game once, and he was one of his complaints for the game was that when they make it so that you can just kill the boss, it makes a lot of the battles really these end game battles are supposed to be really long and epic, but they just feel like trivial things
Yeah. Mhm.
because you can just kill the boss. And then he freaking shows himself loading up his save for this boss, this battle. And I don't know how he goddamn did it, but he has Ramza with the jump ability. He jumps on the dude and he died in one shot. I don't know how you get a freaking jump attack that does 540 damage. I read that ninjas make better jumpers than dragoons, but I've just been using a dragoon for it. I haven't looked into that.
That's
But
probably
Jesus
why.
goddamn crap. He complained that how the battle was over in literally 5 seconds.
Huh.
I was like, I
Well,
hate you. I hate
I
you so
kind of
much.
didn't. I know this game is very broken or breakable and whatever, but it was like you need to A, know how to do that, and then B, invest the time to
To
do it. It's
do
not
it.
like he just turned his dragoon into a ninja and
That was all
done.
it took. Was that all? I don't
Right.
know. I don't know what it
I don't
took.
think so.
Yeah.
So, it would have been more hours, and with the time I have, that would have translated into weeks. So I was like, no, time to move on. We're right here at the end. I knew I was only because we were counting out the number of battles to do per episode. So I knew this was either the last battle, this one, or one after it. Turns out there are 2 more parts to this last fight. There are 23 individual encounters in chapter 4, as it turns out. And
23, that's right, yeah.
yeah. And the next 2 are boss fights against essentially the final boss of the game. Well, the 2 final bosses. And
That's right.
so I watched those, and they do
Same here.
indeed seem a bit easier. Right.
Because
They
it's
do
just
indeed
one.
seem a bit easier. It's one guy.
It's
Who
not
does
just
seem
one
to
guy,
have
sorry.
like a.
They have some
Go ahead.
ultimate demons with her, but Yeah, we should say who it is though. It's Saint Ajora
Right.
herself. I always thought Saint Ajora was a man, but maybe it's a girl because the
Guess it's a woman.
it looked like a woman. It had boobs and
Right.
it was a female body for sure. I
Yeah.
could have sworn they were referring to Saint Ajora as a he in some text in our game though.
I feel like the
The
same.
same. Yeah.
But so Saint Ajora was supposed to be resurrected in your sister, uh, and that came to pass
Sort
in this
of.
boss fight. Sort
Yeah.
of.
I thought she was gonna become Saint Ajora, but it didn't happen. Like he got she got resurrected and Alma was just right over there on the side.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm
It's
unsure
kind of.
why that is.
But you fight Hashmal, which is another Lusavi creature before that.
That's right. I see what you're
Right.
saying.
And then you fight two, actually, parts.
Yes.
There's like a 24th battle, technically, where you have to fight Ultima, who becomes... Saint Ajora becomes Ultima, essentially.
I thought
And
that
then
no, was there somebody before that?
there was
Did you fight just
Hashmal.
normal Hashmal? Did we have to fight Hashmal too? No.
Yeah, you have to fight... Yeah, there's a big lion man. Looks like a big lion.
Oh, that's right. That
You
was
fight
one.
that guy.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah.
Then
24
you
battles.
fight...
Holy crap.
Yeah, then you fight Ultima, who looks like a big red angel woman. And then you fight some other weird demon form of
Of
Ultima
Ultima
again.
again, yeah.
Yeah, which is probably really hard if you don't have the damage to burst it down, but probably not that crazy. So yeah, that's Final Fantasy Tactics. I guess we can talk about the ending a little bit now,
I guess we should, right? Yeah.
right?
Um
So it's very brief. It opens up with a cutscene of what's his name?
well, it opens up with did it not open up with a cutscene of a bunch of people standing around the grave of the Beowulf house? Was that not it?
Yes, correct. There was a grave, and then what was his name standing there? Orin?
He comes up after, yeah. He comes up
Yeah,
upon them, yeah, after they all
right,
leave.
right.
Yeah, and this is the grave of like the entire house, and they're all like the funeral that they're having is for all the Beowulf people who just died because all four of them just died. Zalbag, Dicedar, Gramza, and Alma.
Yeah,
Like all of
yeah.
them died. And then yeah,
Or did they?
well yeah, so Olin walks up and with Famalfra of all people,
Right.
I'm not entirely sure why she's so important that she comes back here. But they put some flowers on the grave and Olin says to them in their grave, by the way, Delita married Princess Ovelia. And somebody earlier, I think it was Delita himself that said earlier in the game that people need like a story that they can get behind. And so the story will be that a common-born, a low-born citizen marries the princess and becomes the new king, the benevolent king, and like saves Evilise or whatever. That's going to be a story that all the people can get behind. And apparently, that's exactly what he did. He married Ovelia, and even I think Oren himself said to Ramza, to them dead in their grave, it's a story that people won't long forget, a common-born person, becoming a king. So it happened exactly as
Yeah.
Delita willed it, actually, I think.
Right. Yeah, and I guess the ending felt a little rushed.
I
don't know.
suppose so.
They
They don't show much, but I mean, what? According to this, so the thing we don't know, right? After that, freaking Ramza and Alma on chocobos walk by, and Olin's like,
Right.
whoa, 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 wait, Ramza, Alma, oh my God, he's
Yeah.
alive, he's alive.
And
Thank
they
you,
just keep going
Ramza.
by. Like, what? Yeah. I kind of almost initially I took that as like, is he just seeing things?
No,
Was he not seeing the real thing? But I think that's supposed to be them. Why they walked by
and
their
said
own
nothing
grave and said nothing.
to Olin. Yeah, no freaking way in hell. It must be what you just said. They're not actually alive. They all died.
Right.
Now, I found this tweet from Yasumi Matsuno himself,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. It kind of leaves things in the air. Like he says, let's see, I'm like translating it as I go here. Final Fantasy Tactics ending. Everyone died. To uketoreta kata ga oi. So lots of people believe that everybody just died. But actually, minna ga XX, because of XXX, he doesn't say. I don't know what that could be. Because of something, they were reborn, or they lived, or something. They came back to the normal world or something. I mean, Jesus Christ, the place that they should have died was not even in this world, and somehow they're here,
Mm-hmm.
right? But というのを以前から伝えたかったのです。So yeah, he said that Yasumi Matsu says he wanted to say that they lived from something. And then during that time, or maybe later, a game called Lord of Vermilion came out, and I guess freaking Ramza makes an appearance in that game, and he says that thanks to Lord of Vermilion 3, we can now say that Ramza this is him saying this, thanks to Lords of Vermilion 3, we can now say that Ramza officially lived. But I mean, is it only thanks to Lords of Vermilion? Like, I don't know what he means by that exactly.
And how, or like how did you pull that off? He was like, you're imprisoned in like a alternate shadow dimension,
Shadow Realm, yeah,
where there's no escape, and the only way out was destroyed in front of your eyes.
right.
And it made a really dramatic ending for sure. It's like, even if you win this, you're never getting out if you're alive. You're just, the only thing you can do now is save the world. And okay, you died or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm unsure about that too. I want to say they just died, but I'm not entirely sure.
I think we should read the two different versions of the epilogue, the short epilogue at the end that runs before the credits, because I think they're kind of funny in a weird way.
Well, I happen to have the original Tactics one open here.
You have the original. You have like the script in front of you.
On the lparchive.org thing,
Right.
It has all the screenshots of that. Assuming he took pictures of all of them, it looks like it. There's a whole bunch of them. Yeah. Want me to read that?
Yeah. Go ahead, read that, and then I'll read the one from the new version.
From War of the Lions. Okay. Since then, no one has caught sight of the two being Ramza and Alma.
Right.
Orlan Durai. So now they they changed the name again.
Well,
I'll just go with the War of the Lions version. Oren Durai reminisces in such a manner. Where does one find good fortune? What possesses them to live for the present? What treasures will they leave behind? The only thing certain is that he is the true hero indeed. And I think that they're referring to Ramza in that one.
Yeah, I think so.
I think, this is playing, the words are going across the only other CG FMV in the game, right? We had one a bunch in the beginning, and now the ending, and this is it, right? And it looks like that's Ramza and her, on the Chocobos writing, and it says all this.
Right, yeah.
The only thing certain is that he is a true hero indeed. Years later, Oren Durai collected his experiences over a period of 5 years into a single syllabus. This collection, known as the Durai Papers, that's the same name as what it's called in our version, were to be presented at Prince Clemence's meeting, during which the new possessor of the throne was to be selected. Prince Clemence, I don't know who that was. They don't mean Orinus. Who's Prince Clemence? But the church, which feared public disclosure of the truth, decided to arrest Durai and burn him at the stake for the crime of heresy. It's amazing. The retrieved Durai papers were then confiscated by the church for several hundred years. But I have uncovered the truth. Let me now revive his honor. Let his way of life be absorbed by the next generation. author of the brave story, Al-Azlam Durai, the
Mm-hmm.
guy who's like in the tutorial menus and stuff. Amazing.
Right. And it's funny in both this version and the newer version of the text, this kind of upbeat ending music is playing as you're reading about this guy being burned alive at the stake.
Yeah.
I kind of found that funny. I was
Right.
like,
It's
this is
like
a
the music.
horrible ending.
Right. This is like the triumphant ending
Yeah.
music. Oh, he was killed though.
So I'll read the new version, which is clearer, and I feel like if you were to read a closer examination of of like the script and the new and the old version of the game, I think would be pretty interesting. I'm sure someone's done it because they change a fair amount
I,
of like
right.
either the intention or the clarity. I don't know if it was like they actually changed stuff or if this is closer to what the original like Japanese writing was trying to convey.
There was probably some, I would assume, there was probably some amount of vagueness in the original Japanese, and in the War of the Lions version, decided to clear some of that up, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, like we
Right,
said, there's just the better translation this time around, clearing up
right.
things that were in the text. Yeah.
So I'll read the new version. It says, Ramza and his sister were not seen again. Oren Durai was left to ponder the mark they had left on history's page. You can kind of tell it's written a little bit better already.
Yeah, it sounds
And
cool.
then it goes into a quote. I know not what brings men joy, of what drives them to great deeds, of what legacies they hope to leave. I know less yet.
Hmm.
And then I'm just scrolling through
Yeah, it's fine.
the cutscene, which is nice. And they do new cutscenes in the
In the War of the
War of
Lions
the
version,
Lions
yeah.
remake, which has like they're interspersed throughout the whole game, and they have voice acting in some of them. They're pretty cool.
You watched them, huh?
I watched some of them, not all of them, but they're
Cool.
pretty good. And then, but I do know this: the true hero of this tale was the man forgotten. So that's been a theme throughout this: is that Ramza is some sort of, you know, historical behind the scenes actor that history has kind of overwritten.
Yeah,
They mentioned that at the beginning.
they did, yeah.
Oren would spend the next half decade assembling an account, all of which he had borne, all to which he had borne witness.
Yeah.
The writing is a little convoluted. His work complete, Oren presented this account, the derived papers, for the Clemensian Council. So that's why we don't know
Clemensian Council, yeah.
who Clements was. I think there's some sort of a council that was named after this.
Yeah, I guess that's a new name, right? I don't think we had the name Clements before, right?
Yeah, or if it
Clemensian.
is, it's briefly mentioned. So I think this is supposed to be the new government. Then convened for the selection of a new high confessor. So they're reinstating the confessor. It's not like they're going with a different thing. However, the church, fearing above all else the revelation of the truth, seized Oren as a heretic and burned him alive at the stake.
Damn.
The pen that inked them forever stilled, the papers lay hidden for long centuries, forgotten even by the church that had concealed them, which is crazy to think. But
I
I
guess
have
so.
found the truth, and so lay it bare for all to see, that his deeds might guide generations yet to come, that his name might receive the honor it is due. And then in this as well, you see CGI scene of Ramza and his sister on chocobos riding off into the sunset. So it's at least thematically implied that they are surviving in some way, if not literally, then symbolically.
I like symbolically better because I just don't see how they could like.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Well, what like then what I need to know, like actually beyond more than how did they get out? Because okay, whatever, some magic thing happened, Deus Ex Machina. Okay, fine. Now what are they gonna do? That's what I want to know. What are Ramza and Alma gonna do now? They just
right.
throw away the name of Beowulf and do what? Is what I want to know.
I mean, yeah, ignoring how they got out or any of that stuff. You're right. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. I don't think that would make for a good ending here. I think it fits with this game that these characters are kind of tragic and they died tragically,
Yeah.
or at least heroically, but they died. Everyone fucking dies in this game. It's a very grim,
Yeah. Main
not
character
happy.
died by our version of the game.
All the major players in this story have either a tragic ending or they are horrible people.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Did anybody live now that I think about it? Like our whole family died.
Obviously,
Durai gets
yeah.
burned at the stake. Did Durai's father, Sid,
I guess
did Sid
he
live?
was there with us in the pit, right?
So he's
So
dead. Yeah, they're all dead. Okay, all those
dead.
guys are dead.
Everyone on who you could potentially recruit and play with, you could factor as dead.
Yeah. Like Duke Larg was killed by Dice Dark. The original king and queen, which is not ever shown, just like mentioned in like the lore sections.
Yeah.
I guess they're still alive somewhere. The king isn't, but the queen and the son, the little kid, Prince Orinus, I guess is still alive somewhere.
Right. Yeah, it's a really like proto Game of Thrones, like everyone dies type of story here.
Yeah. We got to get to the very end. Oh, so did you notice Allah Salam's last name is Durayo?
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. Good job. Yeah. So I enjoyed the mind blow. One of the mind blow moments for me was that the whole game was sort of being told, from Azazlam Durai's perspective, which was the perspective of Oren Durai. I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
So it's hundreds of years.
Right.
So this must be like a great grandson or something.
Like many people later, yeah. Like many people, hundreds of years. If you have a kid every 30 years even, that's still a lot of kids, right?
Quite a few, right?
Yeah. So we're talking like 10 people down the line or something.
Something like that.
Remembered, found out his family tree, found out about the Durai papers. I mean, if I knew about that, that'd be awesome too. But yeah,
that would be cool. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And then what I think is the most important moment of the ending. I mean, all that other stuff was also pretty cool. But at the very end, freaking Delita brings Ovelia flowers. And I'm sorry?
When does this happen?
What?
Like after the credits? What are you talking about?
Oh, dude.
No.
Okay, you ready?
I'm watching it now.
You're watching it now? Okay. Delita, it's Princess Ovelia's birthday today. Delita shows up with freaking flowers for her. And as he reaches to give them to her, she knifes him in the heart.
Oh, my God.
And kills him through his freaking breastplate and everything. I don't know how she did it. She found exactly the crack in the armor. And she got him. And so because she's trying to kill him, he pulls out a knife and goes ahead and kills her.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So she dies first. She falls down, dies immediately.
So it says he's king.
That's right. He became the king. Him and the princess, and she became the real princess, or the queen, I guess now. And they got married. And then he actually is in love with her from what I can tell. Like he didn't just use her. He also actually loved her, I think. It was just a convenience. It was conveniently he had to use her for his plan, but also I think he loved her.
Right.
And so that's why he's bringing her flowers and stuff. I think he was actually
this is so fucking nuts.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
You didn't know about that until now.
No, I thought the rest of this was just credits.
No, dude. Yeah. And did you just watch it like
God, I'm literally watching it right now.
Yeah. And then he turns around and says, Ramza, let me go up a little bit more.
I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Well, you're looking at the original translation, right?
Yeah, I am. Are you? Go ahead. Can you read it?
He says, "Did you get your end in all of this, Ramza?" Yeah. As he's on his knees, he's like, "I got this.
I got this." Yeah. And then I guess he dies.
And then it just pulls away.
Oh my God.
Most likely he dies.
Yeah.
That's fucking bananas. Even more death and ridiculousness.
And this is like the main theme of the game coming to the end, to an end right here, which I have never been able to spot themes in any story ever. But after hearing a podcast about it, I was like, oh. And the whole one of the themes, beside who's the real person in history that deserves the credit, is also the difference between the way that that Delita and Ramza make their meet their ends. Make their goals come true. And so, in the way that it happened for Ramza is he lost everything, his house and his family and all, but what he found was love. He still has his sisterly love with Alma. And if you remember earlier in the game, Olin says to him, there are people out there who would give their lives for you, and I'm among them. So like Ramza has like people willing to die for him, but he loses everything. Where Delita gains everything, goes from lowborn to king, but loses love.
Right.
And then in the end, his life as well, I guess.
Right. Yeah, they're kind of going against the current in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Right? So it's
results.
it's a very good analysis, I think.
Yeah. So that's the epic story of Final Fantasy Tactics. What do you think, man?
I think it's an even better game than I had realized. I didn't know how kind of story rich it was. I thought everyone was kind of on this game's fucking dick because it was a really good classic strategy game on the PS1, which is not really a strategy game platform. So it's whenever you get that in a console, the games usually kind of has an outsized appreciation because people are a little starved for that type of content. This happened on the GameCube all the time.
Right.
Like, name one role-playing game, name one fucking RPG on the GameCube, and everyone loves it because there's not very many.
Right.
But it's not just that. This game has a really compelling story. Even with the original translation, it's not that bad. It's just awkward.
Right.
And with the new translation, it just really puts it over the top, and it makes it really fun to read and kind of absorb yourself in. And then, on top of that, it's also there's a lot of, this is like early on in the RPG elements addition to every game, where there's this sort of progressional element where you're kind of always building something. There's some stat that you're always boosting, which is very satisfying.
Yeah.
And a lot of game developers kind of realize this, so they put this in like every fucking game ever afterward.
Yeah.
And this is an instance where if you know what you're doing or if you're willing to put the time into it, you're always kind of working towards something. Even when you're like grinding or doing an uninteresting fight, there's always something that you're buying next or building next or whatever. And that can be really a really good undercurrent for the gameplay. And then there's a lot of experimentation that can take place too, which is really fun. Early on, there was more of that than later. But this is a really, really, really good game.
Awesome. Sounds like you enjoyed it about as much as I hoped you would. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think you'd say the story was even better than you expected, though. I thought you'd expect about this good.
I just had no idea about the story at all. I guess I couldn't have named one character from the story before playing it. Like, I didn't know any facet of, this person, that like Delita, I'd never heard of him. Never even heard of Ramza. Never, any of these other characters. I knew there was some lineage between this and Final Fantasy XII, which I have read after the fact. This game is supposed to take place like a long, long, long time after Final Fantasy XII.
Yeah, I think I read that too.
Yeah, so there's like bare remnants of technology, the sort of which you see in Final Fantasy XII, which is kind of high technology world.
Right.
Here, it's gone way back to like, Dungeons and Dragons and castles.
Yeah. But there was like ancient ancient technology buried in Machine
Yeah,
City Gaug and stuff. And I guess that's
right.
all from
Yeah,
FF12 or something.
I guess so. And there was some connection between the espers, all of which are shown here in this game. You encounter those same creatures as espers
That's right.
in Final Fantasy 12, almost every single one of them.
Yeah, I guess you're right, huh? Adramalek was there.
All of them. Hashmal was
Hashmal was one of them.
there.
Yeah, I don't remember all of them from 12.
Yeah, there are more in 12 that exist, I think.
Belial's the main one, the first one you get in 12, and he uses mace.
Belial, Kuchulain, or however you pronounce
That's
that,
right.
is in there. Yeah, they're all pretty much in there. A lot of them are optional in 12, and this one they're part of the main story.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Zodiark might be in this one too.
you're probably right.
I think it is. Whatever the final summon that you can get, which you have to get by doing something, you don't just learn it. I think that was Zodiark for the
Ultima
summoners.
is in 12.
Yeah. Cool. I'm just so stoked that you had a good time playing this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you go into it like me with having experience with it and you have a build in mind, that's a fun thing to do, but then it also comes with its own drawbacks. The main ones being that any time, all the time spent before you actually make the build you want, you're like just getting impatient, like hurry up, I need to get this and this and this ability so I can go back to the other job class. There's that, and then the other thing is that you'll get it like around halfway part of the game, I guess, and then it's like, okay, now let's just try to go to the end. And when you try to get to the end, you might run into a battle that your current build can't handle. I think is a possibility. I think there's a possibility that some setups just won't work. Yeah. And so you'd have to switch them around.
You'd have to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd really like to watch the H.C. Bailey Let's Play of this. I do know that he did grind some, but I think what he does is he actually goes into every battle with slightly altered characters every time, just because he knows because his whole point of his Let's Play is to have all knowledge of the game when you go into it. So, so yeah, I believe he was constantly changing setups throughout to accommodate for the upcoming battles and stuff. So I guess that's what they want you to do in this game. It's not going to be like what you say Fire Emblem is like, where you just build the guys you have very carefully and you don't ever switch classes until you've done everything you want to do with the previous class.
Right. And you only have one option in Fire Emblem. You don't have
12 jobs to choose from.
Right. I'm going to turn this, axe wielder into a mage. Like, that's not going to happen. So you're given way more freedom, which is something I kind of struggled against. So I was looking for more of that structure, and I had to kind of think about this game very differently. And that includes in the combat as well, because something you'll notice I guess we should say it, right?
Yeah, okay.
What are we doing next?
So before we do that, okay. So this is the end of the Final Fantasy Tactics playthrough, and we hope you enjoyed listening to Mel's experience with the game. And so starting in the next episode, it'll be my turn to play a game that I've never played, that Mel has always loved. And that game is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance for the GameCube.
That's right.
Okay. And what did you want to ask me about that?
So just that there's one of the biggest, most fundamental differences between this game and Fire Emblem in general is that Fire Emblem is round-based. All your guys go in one shot, and then all the enemy guys go.
Yeah,
you don't take turns based on like speed stats. And that is a big difference that kind of goes unspoken in most role-playing games, because you have the games like Dragon Quest, where your guys go in rounds.
They do go in rounds,
You plug in your your commands in a round-based fashion, but everyone then, the combat resolves based on your speed stat.
That's right, yeah.
And then there's another way to do it where everyone goes, and then the other side goes. And there's
Right.
an even different way to do it where the only time you input commands is when your turn is up. That's the ATB style of doing things.
Right.
And all of these different styles have really big differences on the way your strategy can be played. Because one of the big things I always thought was kind of cool but underappreciated in Dragon Quest is you're kind of going in a little blind. You're kind of like,
Mm.
I hope I heal this guy. Oops, I didn't heal him because he died. Now I healed myself, right?
Ah,
That's
I
never
see.
going to happen in Final Fantasy VII, for instance.
Yeah, I guess so. If you do
Um,
it quick enough, yeah. Yeah.
right. Or in other games where that kind of dynamic isn't possible, Final Fantasy X or something, you're going to go when your turn is, and
Right.
it's going to resolve right away.
Yeah.
But in games and differences between FF Tactics and Fire Emblem, the strategy you're going to employ, you're going to notice is really very different
Mm.
in what you can pull off, what's safe, what's not safe, what's risky, not risky.
And
And
also insta death in
yeah,
this game, right? In Fire Emblem,
no
right?
way to revive anyone ever at any point. So you have to be a little more careful. I think overall, the odds that you're just going to get fucking one shot are way down as well. Like I
Mm.
think difficulty wise, trying to remember. It's been a minute. I'm replaying Fire Emblem Path of Radiance alongside you, so I'm trying to remember. I, I don't know. It's tough for me to tell. Probably on first run, I guess Tactics would be a harder game. Playing both games for the first time.
Okay.
That's my assumption is that Tactics would be harder. But you'll notice like in Fire Emblem, you can back out. It's easier in the sense that you can
Yeah.
back out of
Of like your movement and stuff, right?
actions, right, of your
Yeah.
movement. In Tactics, you have to commit to that,
Yeah.
which caught me off guard all the time. I kept forgetting you couldn't back out of that.
Yeah.
So you can go up to a character in Path of Radiance and then check to see if you'll kill them. And if you don't, just back out of it. You don't have to commit to that. In
Huh.
Tactics, you're pot committed. You walked up to the guy and you're like, well, I'm going to attack him. Ah, shit. I don't have enough strength or I'm not fast enough or whatever the case is. What? Oh, well, unless you're using an emulator and you roll a save state back, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
In Fire Emblem, it's part of the game where you can go up to them and then check your stats against theirs, and you'll know guaranteed whether or not you're going to win that encounter or
Mm.
not. It's all the numbers are right there. So that's a big difference in Fire Emblem.
Interesting. I'm expecting that since there's no grinding, like there's no random battles or whatever in
Mm-hmm.
Fire Emblem, what I'm expecting is that uh, the strategy is going to be a lot more important than the stats. I mean, you're going to match stats to other enemy stats so that you win. But I mean, since you can't go out and grind, you just have to choose the right people to go to the right places and attack the correct people. And it's going to be, I want to say it's going to be more like a puzzle than an RPG is what I want to say.
That's probably very accurate, I think, because there's a limited pool of experience in the game at all. There are no side quests to take. There are no repeatable maps to grind, which are true. You do that in newer Fire Emblem games. It becomes more like a traditional role-playing game. But in Path of Radiance, which is the first console Fire Emblem game in the West.
Was it the first one? Wow.
Yeah, in the West.
In the West, right? Yeah. That means a
Yeah.
lot of them. Which number is this? Like 5 or something? 4?
Something like that. Something
Yeah.
around there, 5 or 4. And the one prior to this on the Game Boy Advance was the first Fire Emblem game ever in the West. Came out in like 02, 03 or something like that.
Right. So that was the first one ever,
yeah.
and then this is the first home console one.
First home console one and first 3D Fire Emblem game, and it kind of shows like the graphics are a little janky for a GameCube game even. But yeah, I think that's probably pretty true. To approach it from that is probably the right perspective, but we'll see as we go on. The plan is to play 10 chapters. Every chapter is, most of them are one encounter, one battle. So we'll do per episode 10 battles, 10 chapters before we record and catch up and see where how we're each doing.
Okay. I'm already on the 6th one now.
Right. Yeah, I'm already past chapter 10, so...
Okay, maybe we can go further if I'm going smooth.
Yeah, if you think it's good, we'll see where we're at during our next weekend recording session. If we need to go further, we can go further.
Okay. Cool. I believe that does it for today's episode. Thank you very much, Mel.
Thank you, Zoltan.
Yep, and thank you all for listening. And I forgot to say it at the beginning, so I'll say it now. You can please, if you could, please share this with somebody out there, with someone on the internet, if they like JRPGs. And that will do it for this time. This is Turn-Based Memories, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much.
Bye.